Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Harrogate series. Harrogate is a large borough, one of the 11 districts of North Yorkshire. It's got 139 civil parishes. Which one are we in this episode? Welcome back to Harrogate, everybody, and to the biggest one that I've done in this district so far. This place is very big and it's getting much bigger. It continues to grow and we're going to see exactly how much it has grown over the past few decades. Welcome to the parish of Killinghall. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Welcome back to Harrogate, folks, and this week we're in the biggest one I've taken on so far up here. This is Killinghall, located 3 miles north of the town centre on the southern bank of the River Nidd. It grew as a vital river crossing, where today a new bridge now stands over one of the most picturesque stretches of water in Yorkshire. It's primarily a commuter village today, and as such, its housing stock continues to grow in several areas. With a population in excess of 4,000, this is one of the most desirable places around Harrogate, it would seem, to buy a property. Despite the ominous-sounding name, Killinghall has nothing to do with any kind of killing. The village dates back to before the Norman conquest of England. In fact, there's evidence that it dates back to Celtic times. In the Domesday Book, it's recorded as Chenihalle, which loosely translates to Kennel Hall. This was therefore probably the place where hounds belonging to the lord of the manor were kept. The oldest building in the area is Kennel Hall Farm, which according to legend housed parliamentary soldiers from Cromwell's regiment. The buildings date back to the 17th century when the village was being largely rebuilt. Oh, and speaking of soldiers, Killinghall has a rather large connection to the British Army. To the south of the village on the ever-expanding Killinghall Moor is the Army Foundation College. Let's go and check it out and see what else Killinghall has to offer. We begin with a drive into and out of one of Killinghall's modern businesses, Dside Nurseries, located off Ripon Road just south of the River Nidd. Established in 1958, this is a family-owned and run retail nursery and garden centre that takes pride in growing and selling an extensive range of quality plants. Most are grown here on their 20-acre nursery. Some they sell are often of the unusual and often difficult to find variety. The centre also sells everything you need to look after your plants too, garden tools and the like. The nursery also has the Paradise Cafe, fronted by former Michelin-starred chef Francis Atkins. Arguably, it's just as much as an attraction as the garden centre itself. The cafe is open 5 days a week. To the north of the nursery, the A61 crosses the Nidd via a bridge built in the 1950s. We'll see that bridge in a bit more detail in the forthcoming Ripley episode, and the old bridge which it replaced. Also north of here is the former Killinghall Quarry, which built many of Harrogate's major buildings. Between the nursery and the village is Kennel Hall Farm. This might not look much from the outside, but this building is the stuff of local legend. Not only is it the oldest building in Killinghall village, dating back to the 17th century, but it's also the most historic thanks to Oliver Cromwell and his parliamentarian troops in the Civil War. After the Battle of Marston Moor in 1644, Cromwell's Norwich troop of horses were quartered at Killinghall, and this building, according to the plaque that commemorates it, was used to house soldiers from Cromwell's regiment. The farm, which covers 130 acres, has been in the possession of the Morrell family for generations. In 2010, some of its redundant buildings were turned into training facilities for up to 15 former drug and alcohol abusers, re-educating and restoring them back into the community and helping them find employment. Run by Christian charity Horizon Life Training, it was the first facility of its kind in the entire country. It cost just over £1 million to convert the buildings. Our main walk begins in the southernmost reaches of the main village, which has grown considerably in the last few decades. This is Heather Court, just one example of the kind of brand new housing estate Killinghall has gained in that time. In fact, the south of the village has been expanding ever since the end of World War II, as evidenced by more close connected to it. Killinghall continues to expand today. A little later around the route, we'll see one of the newest areas that's still being built. These properties mean Killinghall is one of the ideal locations for the commuter, only 3 miles from the centre of Harrogate. But the village has a long history, and some of it is handily on display, like for example this old turnpike stone on Otley Road. Here too is the only remaining school building in the village. We'll see what happened to the other one shortly. Opened in 1852, this was known as the Top School originally and was a church establishment. It's now Killinghall C of E Primary. Okay, so from the school we're going to hop over the road and head towards Killinghall's Church, which you can kind of see the churchyard for. On the right hand side of this shot you've got these houses on the left, and the churchyard wall is literally just there. It's hiding behind those trees. Killinghall's church is dedicated to St Thomas the Apostle and dates back to 1880. It was designed by William Swindon Barber. Among its earliest vicars was the Venerable Robert Collier, an Irish missionary who served in both India and Africa. Until this church existed, residents had to walk over a mile to the church at Ripley. Killinghall was once located in Ripley Parish. The church's foundation stone was laid in April 1879 by Sir Henry Day Ingleby of Ripley Castle, with an audience of 300 people. The east window, seen here, was made by Cox & Son. Its central 2 lights are based on the story of Doubting Thomas. On the wall I found a plaque commemorating a former organist, George Thomas Woods, who played in this church for 24 years. The building, unsurprisingly, is made of Killinghall quarry stone. The stonemason was James Simpson of Harrogate. There's a parish notice board in here, by the way, so Killinghall can officially be marked off the Harrogate list. 133 to go. Burials still take place in the churchyard. Dinah Courtley and her husband, major church benefactors, have prominent graves here. Okay, so we're going to continue along Otley Road until it reaches Ripon Road, at which point we'll turn right effectively and head back down to where we began. Everything else really is either off Ripon Road or off Otley Road. There's a sports field still to see, there's the shops, there's the War Memorial, there's a few other bits and bobs. It's really just around these 2 main roads, and all the housing is kind of in between or around the edges effectively. We'll see what else we can find. Off Otley Road is Castle Close. There's no castle here, it's all houses, but I would imagine its name refers to Ripley Castle. Whatever the case, it's a quiet residential cul-de-sac, and at this time of year it sports a few colourful trees. I love autumn. Back to Otley Road now, where there's a garage. Named Brookroyd, it's been here for more than 20 years, and it's a Skoda specialist. Over the road is the village hall. This is the former school building we mentioned a few moments ago. This was the bottom school. It was a former board school built in 1876. It became the village hall in 1937 when the two schools merged to form Killinghall C of E. Around the back of the village hall is Killinghall Cricket Club, who represent the village in the Nidderdale League. Across the road from the cricket club's entrance is A. Vors & Son, a local undertaker's. Next, it's the parish room. Built in 1867 as the Literary Institute, this evolved into the parish room 38 years later, thanks to the efforts of Dinah Courtley. It became a men's club in 1908 and then served as a soldiers' club during World War I. It was sold in 1966 and it's now a private home. My original route was supposed to follow a housing estate next, but I opted against it. The estate in question, though, looks a bit like this. So instead, here we are at the Greyhound, a former Samuel Smith's pub. Killinghall currently has no open pubs. This one closed in 2019. Okay, so the pub can be found where Otley Road meets Ripon Road. We're going to walk up Ripon Road to the north to begin with here to find the War Memorial. It's up towards the nursery that you saw at the very beginning of this video, just up there on the right hand side. Then we'll turn around, we'll come back down the other side to where we began earlier. As we make for the War Memorial, we pass the surgery. Killinghall Medical Centre is operated by Moss Healthcare, based in Harrogate. The memorial has 173 names, 169 from World War I and 4 from World War II. It stands 50 metres to the south of Kennel Hall Farm. Back the other way, here we have Westfield House Care Home. This did have a blue plaque on its wall, but it was too far away to read. Next is Norwood House, or 90 Ripon Road. This is the HQ of the Johnny Javelin Card Company, who make popular greetings cards. After that, there's a white terraced row which runs back towards the junction and towards Killinghall's other, now closed, pub. It was called the Three Horseshoes and it's now this Tesco store. Above it, the upper floor is now 4 two-bedroom apartments. The local bus stop still uses the Three Horseshoes name though. Killinghall is served by the number 36 between Ripon and Leeds via Harrogate. With just a handful of landmarks left, Ripon Road becomes residential again as it runs away from the centre towards Killinghall Moor. Now once you get beyond that area, Ripon Road is housing on both sides. Behind the houses on the left hand side as you walk down, there's a load of new builds. Lots of streets which have gone up in the last 10, 20, maybe 30 years. There's another area to the south of Killinghall just like that, which is actually Harrogate. It's expanded out from Harrogate into Killinghall. We're going to drive around that after I finish this walk. I've got one more section to go, and this will involve the Methodist Church and a few other bits and bobs which I may find of interest. Lovely place, isn't it? Really, really nice. The only major landmark left on the walk is the Methodist Chapel, which has occupied the same site on Ripon Road since 1792. Just before getting to it, I noticed this house on the left. I reckon, given the big windows, this was some kind of shop years back. So here we have the Methodist Chapel, part of the Nidd Valley Methodist Circuit. This reopened after a refurbishment in January this year. From here it's all housing. Behind these neat looking properties is another brand new housing estate, still under construction. If you're after a new build house up here, you're advised to get in quick if this sign is anything to go by. It seems they go pretty fast. And we're back to Addison Villas, the side street where we began. Time to hop into the car because there's lots more to see yet. To the south of the village is an area known as Killinghall Moor. It's not a moor in the traditional sense because you won't find any swathes of heather or anything like that here. Instead, you will find lots more residences. This is the Jenny Fields estate, built within the last 50 years on land that was once open countryside. Because it merges with the Harrogate suburbs to the east, its boundaries are a little loosely defined. Part of Killinghall Moor is given over to a country park. In that park is a football ground used by Killinghall Nomads Juniors. One of their former players was the current England Lioness Rachel Daly, and earlier this year they renamed their cafe Nomad's Daily Brew in her honour. There is a conservation group that seeks to protect the area around Killinghall Moor from any further development. However, there are still new houses being built. This brand new estate is on the other side of the A59, which crosses Killinghall Moor on its way into Harrogate. As well as this, there's also another estate being built off Pennypot Lane to the south of the moor. Naturally, these new builds have not pleased everyone. Still, Harrogate continues to grow, ever expanding to the west. Via the Curious Cow pub located on the roundabout where the B6161 crosses the A59, we're off to our final area of Harrogate Parish now. This is Oakerbank, which runs south to Beckwithshire. Halfway between the two villages is an area that has Harrogate's biggest and most well-known connection to the military. Now, what could that be? Okay, to finish this episode off, I've come to the south of Killinghall village where you'll find this industrial estate. This is Harrogate West Industrial Estate, Harrogate West Business Park, to give it its proper name. This is in the parish boundaries of Killinghall, and also within Killinghall's parish boundaries is something that you'll find right next door to this that's got a massive military connection. It's the Army Foundation College. Let's go and check it out. In the southwestern corner of the parish along Pennypot Lane, you'll find two sites which are operated by the British Army. The Army Foundation College is the only British Army establishment in the country that delivers Phase 1 training to junior soldiers. Trainees begin their careers here aged between 16 years and 17 years and 5 months old. I'm not totally sure why that's so precise. Recruits follow one of two different courses. One is for combat arms lasting 49 weeks, the other is a shorter 23-week course for other army trades. The college was founded in 1947 as the Royal Signals Apprentices School and provided training for the Royal Artillery and the Royal Engineers. In 1961, the RA and the RE as they're known moved out, and the school was then renamed the Army Apprentices College. Until 1998, it provided Royal Signals training until it closed briefly, reopening as the Army Foundation College later the same year. Its passing out parade is the second largest in the British Army, with only Trooping the Colour considered bigger. Captain Sir Tom Moore, the famous COVID-19 hero, was appointed as the first honorary colonel of the college on his 100th birthday. And finally, here's a word for the industrial estate. Harrogate West Business Park is very new, having only been completed last year. The biggest company here is ventilation system manufacturer Envirovent, founded in Harrogate by Frank Farmer more than 35 years ago. And that, as they say, is that. That's been the parish of Killinghall, and I do hope you've enjoyed it. Soon it might smell nicer around here too, because the Pateley Bridge founded company Yorkshire Flapjack are set to move onto the estate. I love me some flapjack, and you know what they say up here, if it ain't done the Yorkshire way, it ain't done right. Time to move on to the next one. I'll see you there in 7 days' time. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.